This conference will now be recorded.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा वाहिदुल कहार अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा मुश्किल आसान या अली मदद रसान या अली 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 तौफीक ताईद हिम्मत व यारी 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 हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर हस्बुनल्लाह व निअमल वकील व निअमल मौला व निअमन नसीर Ya Mawla Meherban, we all have gathered here, Mawla, to praise you, Mawla, to remember you, Mawla, to learn this knowledge, Mawla. We seek your mercy, your friendship, Mawla, your help, Mawla. Oh Mawla Meherban, please help us. Help us. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Yali Madad to all friends.
مولا علي مدد
Yali Madad.
يعني مداد
Yali Madad Anis.
يا لي
Anis.
مدد نعمة صاحبة.
Oh, Yali Madad Rabia. Mar, Yali Madad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With Mawla's mercy, we have gathered here, and today is our second session of Imam in Quran, and we are still kind of setting our feet firm on the ground to learn more and more to walk into this course. And we are walking slowly, but we are learning definitely to get into deeper understanding. Okay. All right. So our objectives are same as last time, that we started with zikr, with seeking Mawla's mercy. We will study, read a farman, and we will review last class comments or if there is any question. And today we will catch up with the verses which we did not finish the last time, and we will continue with these new verses. So I would like you to all note down all the verses. You already have the course objectives. So what we will be doing, that we will continue with the verses which we did not cover today. But for you, you already have highlighted and you know these verses. We will be discussing these verses in detail. So let us start with Farman and Mubarak. So one of you can come forward and read this Farman, please.
Can I start?
Ji.
Farman Mubarak of Muhammad Sultan Muhammad Shah Salwat Pariyat. You eat the bark of the almond, but never tasted the kernel of the almond. You eat the marrow to know more about the faith so as to gain more reliance and happiness. Farman 39, Zanzibar 13 July 1899.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Salwat
Right?
Pariyat.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So this is a beautiful farman of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, and Maula is talking about our habit. What we do, we eat the bark of the almond, but we never eat the kernel of the almond. Imam is telling us to eat the marrow. Now, this is allegorical farman. This farman is not about almond, physical almond which we eat. This is actually talking about the tawil of our tariqa, the batni tariqa we have. We follow the batni tariqa, esoteric tariqa. Imam is telling us that when you eat that almond, which is red color, which is in Indo-Pak, I have not seen it here in West, that what people would do will eat the covering of it, which is sweet, soft and sweet. But the almond, the nut, is actually in the hard shell. You have to break that hard shell to get the nut out. And Imam is telling us with this allegory, explaining to us that you eat the bark, but you don't eat the marrow. In order for anyone to eat the marrow, it requires that kernel to be kept. You have to take a stone or some heavy thing to break that kernel to get the nut out. In other words, Imam is actually talking about that if you want long lasting happiness, if you want that reliance, if you want that permanent happiness, that reliance in your heart, that nothing can, stir that strength, faith, confidence, happiness, no matter what happens to us in our outer worldly life, nobody can stir us from inside. That will only come if you take this effort of picking something heavy, allegorically speaking, break that shell to get the nut out and eat it. It requires one to work harder, to take few steps more, to be able to get the mugs, the essence out of that hard shell. Then only you will get that marrow. This is the example of our tariqa. Our tariqa is batni tariqa. It is not a zahiri tariqa. If someone only focuses on zahiri tariqa, Imam has called them monkeys. In his farman, Imam has called them monkeys. Why? Because monkey will just copy what others are doing. If we are following our tariqa, what our parents have taught us, physically, sajda, raising hands, paying the son, going to Jamaat Khana, all that is physical tariqa. Physical tariqa is good that we are eating the bark of the almond. It's one level. But that level, Imam says, following physical deen, behaving like monkeys. We are not animals. We are humans. We have intellect. And that is why we are expected to take that effort to get that essence out of the Zahiri Tariqa, to eat that batini fruit which is hidden from our eyes. When we eat that batini fruit with batini ilm, when we understand it, it will give us that happiness, that reliance, that nothing from outside can stir that faith, that happiness within us. and that is tawili ilm. Tawil is hidden. We seek tawili ilm. So beautiful Farman. So let us first review. Now I'm showing you all what we did briefly. So I hope that you all were ready to give me a few comments. Inshallah, next time I will ask you. We did study chapter 3, Surah Ali Imran, verses 103. And in that we did mention that that is the verse which we were told to recite. We were given in Silver Jubilee. It was in the logo, and it talks about rope of Allah. And we talked in detail that how it is an allegory. We just studied a Farman speaking to us in an allegorical language. So what we are learning by this study of Farman and this verse last time, that very strangely Hidayat is given in allegories. Only the seekers of the truth will take time to seek what is hidden behind this allegory. What is the essence? Then we also studied verses 104 to 107, in which we learned that there is one group, one band of people, one nation who invites others to good. Why? So we can attain felicity, we can find happiness. And Allah commands that do not be divided. Do not be divided after receiving guidance. We are blessed when we receive guidance. We do not need to be divided. We need to stay united by holding on to that rope of Allah, which is the Imam of the time. And there are clear signs given to us. And then we did talk about black and white faces. We studied a Farman as well on that. So what is the essence? What is the tawil? The mugs. The word awwala means origin, the batni meaning, the hidden wisdom. And there's a beautiful Farman by Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, Jamnagar, 6th April 1900. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Your original abode is too large. Your asal makan is very big. Your original abode is too large, but now is too much far. The intelligent will reflect deeply that how I came in the prison. The world is a prison for the believer. The world is a prison for you. The life is also a prison for me. I am tired with the world. I repeat, I am tired. I need original abode. You too need original abode. Now this Farman has so many meanings that we can spend the whole hour just in that. But very briefly, Imam is talking about Asal Makan, our original abode, the place where we have come from, where our soul has come from. This body will not go there, but the soul will return to its origin. Only those who are wise, who are intelligent will remember this, remember the purpose, reflect on it, and will desire to free themselves from this prison. Normally, we think that Asal Makan is when one dies. Imam, with his own example, is actually telling us that he is tired of this world. I repeat, Mola says, I am tired. I need original abode. Now, this is not to say that Imam is unhappy in this world, or the world is place of sorrow, or the world is something to throw away, to detach completely. In the negative sense, Imam is saying here that we do need to have that ability to free ourselves so we can get to that Asal Makan. Here, There are levels of understanding. Those who attend general classes, the basic understanding will be, oh, this world is the dunya ghar matam ka, jise dekho so rota hai zaro zar. Right? The whole world is crying because this place is so much of sorrow and pain and war and whatnot. Everybody's just crying. So they might see this farman and say, Imam is also crying. But that's not the true thing. But that is also one level of understanding Jamaat may have. And that's okay because it happens step by step. Today, I'm going to tell you a higher understanding because you all are attending more classes than just this class. So you'll be able to connect the dots and understand it. Imam is actually telling us that when we are in this prison, the prison of this body, this prison is like a graveyard for our soul. And we need to get our soul out. If you were to study Batul Kyal Farman of Imam, Imam will say, get your soul out. But then he says in other Farman, if you want to get your soul out, if you want to visit that Asal Makan, you need Nurani Badan. Nurani Badan is the one which we need to become Fana fil Imam during the lifetime. So that is the original abode. That's what Imam is saying. Imam is actually encouraging us that with intelligence, seek knowledge, realize that how your soul is in the prison. You need to get out of that prison. Remove your soul and travel and fly and see what is the realities and recognitions. Imam, from his own example, I see here Imam's humility. Imam is saying, I need original abode, as if Imam doesn't have it. But see, this is Imam's mercy. This is his affection and love that he becomes so humble. He's saying, I'm like you. I need it too, so you do too. This is, I'm telling you, Imam's immense, immense love and affection for us. He does not need anything. He is the Malik of both the worlds. But he comes down to our level, holds our hand to explain to us that if you love me, I want that. So you also want that. Then Imam's another farman, Mullah says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You come to me for the medicine of illness, but I am not a doctor. I am mere a doctor of the soul. I am not a doctor of the disease of the head or body. I am the doctor of your souls. Therefore, put into the practice the farman you heard. You will get benefit from it. Imam, through the first farman, is treating our intellect by encouraging us, by telling us that we need to free ourselves from that prison and seek that Nurani Badan. Elevate ourselves with zikr, ibadat, ilmu, amal. Imam very clearly says that he is the doctor of our soul, meaning we do know our soul is sick, otherwise we would be flying, we would have the Nurani Badan. But by being in this prison, this physical world has overpowered us so much so that our soul is sick. It is not being nourished, nurtured the way it should have been. And Imam's hidayat is such that he is the doctor of our soul. He is guiding us to treat the sickness of our souls so we can elevate, we can fly, we can come to him and unite with him. Subhanallah, Subhanallah. So what was the reason of discussing these two farman? So we can find our original abode, our asal makan, our origin, awwal. Tawil is something which takes us to the origin. If you were to define and understand these two words, tanzil and tawil. Tanzil is used for revelations because it was revealed to him. Tanzil comes from the up to down. Tawil takes it back to the origin. So this is the literal meaning of tanzil, to reveal, to come down, tawil, to take us back to origin. And these two farmans are the hidayat of Imam, telling us that how he has come to this world as embodied Noor to guide us, to be the wasila, to take our souls to its origin. And that is why we are learning about the essence, mugs, tawil. So this is a Quranic verse, 18 by 65. So when you were to look into your Quran, I'm sure you have already looked at it, and I'm sure that you looked at the transliteration too. And in this transliteration, I hope that you are able to see the bold words. So if you look at the bold words, I've highlighted the word rahmat, which we all know, mercy. Another bold word is laduna ilma, which means given knowledge. Ilme laduni, given knowledge. So the translation is, they found one of our servants. They found one of our servants on whom we had bestowed mercy from ourselves, and whom we had taught knowledge from our own presence. So Allah says that He finds His servant whom He bestows mercy and give them this knowledge. Ilme laduni. It is not a knowledge which is acquired. We cannot read books to get that knowledge. This knowledge is given to that individual who submits himself or herself to Imam, and Imam bestows his mercy to give them that knowledge. Ilme laduni. This knowledge is such that it cannot be found in any books. Cannot be found in any books. Then, at the level of ilmul yaqeen, a mustajib can read and learn those books which are full of knowledge based on ilme laduni, based on given knowledge. So there are two types of knowledge. One is acquired, another is given. For someone to be getting this knowledge directly from the mercy of Mawla, one does not need to go to school. One does not need to go to any university. It is given in one's heart because that servant was chosen. The mercy was on that individual servant. Imam gives to whom he wills. Those who meet all the criterias, all the conditions or requirement, they are given the knowledge. So when we truly want to understand the Tawil, we do need to choose books which are full of ilme laduni, given knowledge. Beautiful hadith, very important hadith, batin and bawatin. So batin, we understand the word batin, singular, but the plural is bawatin. So there's a hadith which says, indeed the Quran has an apparent and a hidden. Indeed, the Quran has an apparent and a hidden aspect. And the hidden also has a hidden, up to 7 hidden aspects. How amazing it is. We thought that we were reading these allegorical farmans or Quran, we are understanding the batin. But if we understood one batin, that's not enough. Let's say we did discuss 2, not enough. There are 7 batins. In another hadith, it says there are 700 batins. In Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah's Farman, Imam says that there are 1,000 meaning of one sentence of my Farman. 1,000 meanings. What we are saying, that there is so much of essence which is hidden from our eyes. Why? because we are in the graveyard of our body. Our body becomes the veil. The soul is confined in that prison. In order for our soul to become powerful, to become strong, and to be able to fly and come out of our prison, it needs to be fed. And the food for the soul is ilm, zikr, ibadat, amal, and with Giryavzai. So there is a zahir, apparent, and there is a batin. And then there are layers of batin, layers upon layers, layers upon layers. That is the beauty of this knowledge. We can discuss one thing at so many levels. The further we go into advanced learning, the further we understand these things. The journey always begins step by step, putting our feet firm on the first level so we don't fall back. We take the second step, then third step. Wherever we are standing very firm. Then there is another concept which is very important for us to understand. One is allegory, which is misal. The word is misal or parable, allegory, symbol. Then there is mamsul, which is the essence, which is the hasil, which is the tawil. These are two Arabic words which are given in Quran. So I would like you to note it down so you understand these two words, these two terminologies, because you'll be reading it, hearing it again and again. One is misal, another is mamsul. When we open up the Quran, we read Tanzil, which is full of allegories, full of parables. But mamsul is the what we seek, which is hidden actually. And it is in layers and layers of understanding, because there are layers of meaning, layers of tawilat. In Quran chapter 29, verse 43, it says, and such are the parables we set forth for mankind, but only those understand them who have knowledge. उन मिसालों को लोगों के लिए बयान फरमा रहे हैं, इन्हें सिर्फ अकल वाले ही समझते हैं, अकल वाले. अकल कहाँ से आती है? इल्म से आती है. Only those will understand who have knowledge. So those who are seekers of the meanings, they need to have knowledge. Without knowledge, we cannot seek what is in the batin. And our tariqa is batni tariqa. We will not understand our tariqa if we don't have the knowledge. And alhamdulillah, that is why you all are here. Mubarakbad to each one of you. Then there are several hadiths. One is hadith about Kashifun Nahal. Kashifun Nahal, and it is about Maula Ali. There was a time when Paigambar was sitting with his Sahaba. Word Sahaba means companion. They all were sitting and Paigambar Sahib was giving some kalimat, some knowledge. And then he says, among you is the one who will fight for its tawil of the Quran as I fought for Tanzil. At that time, there are traditions. Abu Bakr says, will that be me? And there are other people who say, oh, will that be me? Is it I? Is it I? And then Paigambar replies and says, quietly listening to very many eyes, he says, he is the one who is mending the shoe. And outside that room, Maula Ali is sitting on the floor, mending Prophet's shoes because they were torn. And this hadith is being authenticated by Shia and Sunni. And being smiley, if we do know that Maula Ali is the one who does the tawil, he is the Janashin, he is the Asas Imam. All Shia and Sunni except authenticate this hadith. This is it for Ismaili. This is the proof that he is our Imam. There is no doubt about it. Paigambar's sayings are so clear for those who are truly looking and understanding. So among you is the one who will fight for its tawil of the Quran as I fought for Tanzil, and that is Maula Ali. Then there's another hadith. Prophet Muhammad praying for Abdullah bin Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib. So those who know the lesson in history, Abdul Muttalib is the Dada, grandfather, right? Grandfather of Hazrat Abdullah and Maulana Imran, father of Maula Ali and father of Paigambar. So Abdullah bin Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib is family member. He is the uncle, meaning the extended family, Nurani family. Paigambar is praying, O Allah, grant him the understanding of religion and teach him tawil of the Quran. In another place it says, O Allah, teach him tawil of the Quran. Now he is from that family, Abdullah bin Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib. So one of the son is Abbas, as Abdullah and Maulana Imran, and the son of Abbas is Abdullah, cousin brother of Prophet Muhammad. And Paigambar is praying that please give him tawil, teach him the tawil. Here, what we are emphasizing is that tawil is not just given to anybody. Tawil is not just given to anybody. When Paigambar said that Maula Ali is the one who will fight for tawil, he in his heart had all the tawilat. He is the Imam. During that time, Maula Ali is the Imam. He is the son of Imam, Maulana Abu Talib. And within that family, Paigambar is praying that give him tawil. Maula Ali never needed to be taught the tawilat. He had the tawilat in his batin, in his heart. Meaning, he received ilm laduni directly. He had all the knowledge within his batin. He was one with the Nur. So I hope that you're able to understand what is the status of our Imam. They are those chosen personalities who have all the tawilat, all the talimat in their batin, and they are our Ruhani doctors. They are the ones who are guiding us. And that's how we all are here, wanting to learn more about tawilat. Now, this is a paragraph from Memoirs. For us to have very strong foundation, we do need to know these resources so we are able to connect very strongly with knowledge. One was blind faith. We all know our Mullah is Imam. That's it. But how? Tell me why. How can I prove it with the knowledge? These are few sources for strengthening our own Iman and have these references so we can share it with those who ask questions, our children, our family members. So in this, Maulana Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says, according to the Sunni school, the majority of Muslims, the Prophet's religion's authority came to an end at his death. And he appointed no successor to his secular authority. According to Sunni teaching, the faithful, the companions of the Prophet, the believers, elected Abu Bakr as his successor and his Khalif. But Abu Bakr assumed only the civil and secular power. No one had the authority to succeed to the religious supremacy, which depended on direct divine inspiration. Because the Prophet Muhammad and the Quran declared definitely that he was the final messenger of God, the absolute. पैगंबर के बाद कोई दूसरा नबी नहीं आने वाला था. He is the last पैगंबर. Thus, say the Sunnis, it was impossible to constitute an authority similar to that of the papacy. It remained for the faithful to interpret the Quran, the example and the saying of the Prophet, not only in order to understand Islam, but to ensure its development throughout the centuries. Fortunately, the Quran has itself made this task easy, for it contains a number of verses which declare that Allah speaks to men in allegory and parable. Thus, the Quran leaves the door open for all kinds of interpretations, all kinds of possibilities of interpretations, without anyone, interpreter, being able to accuse another of being non-Muslim. A fallacious effect of this fundamental principle of Islam, that the Quran is constantly open to allegorical interpretation, has been that our holy book has been able to guide and illuminate the thought of believers century after century. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. In accordance with the conditions and limitations of intellectual perception imposed by external influences in the world. It leads also to a greater charity among Muslims, for since there can be no cut and dried interpretation, all schools of thought can unite in the prayer that the Almighty, in His infinite mercy, may forgive any mistaken interpretation of the faith whose cause is ignorance or misunderstanding. So if you were to go back to that hadith where Prophet Muhammad is very clearly saying that the fight on tawil will be fought by the one who's mending the shoe, and that is Maula Ali. So there is no doubt that Maula Ali is the Janashin, Maula Ali is the one who is going to take the Ummah to teach the tawilat of the Quran. And today that Maula Ali is Shah Karim. Sunnis think, they believe that after Prophet Muhammad there was no Janashin, though if you were to study the history, proof for us, those who want to see, says otherwise. But that's what Sunni believe, and Imam says we respect all the interpretation. We are not judge of anybody. Those who are misunderstanding because of ignorance, not seeking true knowledge, not understanding, may Allah forgive their mistake. We leave it to Allah. We being Ismailis, we understand why and how we are Muslims, how we are Nizari Ismailis, how this book of Quran is the book of guidance for us. And there is no doubt about it. कोई भी शक नहीं है इसके अंदर. Another important word here, that the way it says here, it was impossible to constitute an authority similar to that of papacy. It remained for the faithful to interpret the Quran. Sunnis elected Abu Bakr the way popes are elected. But when we talk of interpretation of the Quran, when we talk of our Imam, there is no election. Allah has selected them. So there is a difference. Young children do ask this question. What is the difference between the Pope and the Hazrat Imam? Pope is elected. There are a group of people who get together and they decide what has their service been, how their character been, blah, 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 and they elect a person. That is not the case with Imam. Imam is selected by the Nur. And it says in the Quran, when we go further on the journey, we will study that verse. Imam is selected. But those who are mistaken due to ignorance, we leave their case to Allah's mercy. Being Indo-Pak Jamaat, We've been studying farmans and ginans of the peers. But today we are so blessed to have so many books, and these are some of the names whose books are full of tawilat, and we need to study. The most recent scholar is Allama Nasiruddin Hunzai. Then we have Sayyidina Jafar bin Mansur al-Yamni, Sayyidina Hamiduddin Kirmani, Sayyidina Qazi Nauman, Sayyidina Al-Mu'id Fiddin Shirazi, Sayyid Pir Nasir Khusro, Sayyidina Hassan bin Sabah, Sayyidina Nasiruddin Tusi. And I hope you all are attending Sunday's global lectures, where we are educated about our books from our Buzurgan-e-Deen, about our Dais and Fidais, who have left for us so much of treasure to seek knowledge from. Now, to warm us all up, why we are not discussing all the Quranic verses, because there has to be foundation built. And this is one of the example that why is it so important for us, for each one of us to have the Quran book in front of us. This is the Quranic verse 2 by 2. Chapter 2, verse 2, it says, Zalikal kitabu la raiba fi huddal lil muttaqin. I would like you to open up your Quran. It is second chapter, second verse, so it's not difficult, on your second page. And I have given here 4 different translations. So keep that open page and look what it says. I have 4 online translations. Shahi International says, this is the book about which there is no doubt, a guidance for those conscious of Allah. So they are referring to the physical Quran. They are saying, this is the book in which there is no doubt. Victor, he is the individual who was Christian, and by studying of Quran, he became Sunni Muslim. So he has a name, I would say, in translation. He says, he translates, this is the scripture whereof there is no doubt, a guidance unto those who ward off. Then we have Yusuf Ali. The name tells us it's a Shia who is translating the Quran. Yusuf Ali says, this is the book. In it is guidance sure, without doubt, to those who fear Allah. Then Shakir, probably Sunni, says, this book, there is no doubt. There is no doubt in it, is a guide to those who guard. In bracket says against evil. When the words are in the bracket, we don't read that. Why? Because it is the interpretation or understanding of the translator. It is not given in Arabic. We do not want to do anything with the translator's opinion. We are interested in the original words of the Quran, which is Arabic. That is why we do need to know to be reading the transliteration. Now, if you look at this verse, I've bolded this word, Zalika. This is bold. Now, pay attention and take a second and read the translation in your book. What is the translation? This is from, again, online. It is Corpus Quran, which gives us meaning from word by word. So the word Zalika, which we just saw here, this word Zalika. When we look at the Arabic word and its translation, what does the word Zalika means? That. The word Zalika means that. It does not mean yes. We looked at Sunni, Shia, and different translators. What does it say? This, 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 this. So if I may ask, Shabira, what does your Quran say?
I'm home now, so I can read it. Mine says, this is the scripture in which there is no doubt, containing guidance for those who are mindful.
So this. Anis, what does your Quran say?
This is the
This.
scripture.
So
Yeah.
I hope now you know to please put a pen across it, cross it, and write down that. Why? Because we have now so blessed with technology and resources, the word Zalika means that. Now the question here is,
Niamat,
why? Ji
Niamat
Nana,
Sahaba,
ji.
I I have Arbery's book, and Arbery says that is the book wherein there is no doubt.
Very good. Yes. So Arbery has translated it better. Arbery and Mir Ahmad, you will find that. So there are good translation too. You are right. So I'm glad that you have that Quran. But remember what is easily available, easily approachable, and out of, I do not know all of you, what translations do you have? And you are interested in transliteration. So those who have transliteration, that is the Quran we are choosing. And interestingly, it is only Yusuf Ali or whatever we have online available. We have transliteration because we truly will study transliteration, not just a translation, because there are errors by translators. So there are very few. So I hope that those who have this, which I believe will be the majority, it is that word in your Quran. Quran is going to be your course book, and you can cut that word that and write this and write down that. I hope that you realize the happiness which I feel, the joy I feel, that the book which I was so scared of, I am so knowledgeable that I can cut this Arabic scholar with so many degrees. The way he's translated, we're going to cut it and we're going to say that because we understand the right meaning of the word zalika. And it says that is the book. The question I'm going to raise is why all these scholars, why did they say this book? You know why? Because they don't understand which is that book. The only visible book is the Quran. Which is that book in which there is no doubt? Now, if I were to take the example of this physical book, people can make changes in it. They can edit it, they can erase it, they can add something. Books can be done. Meaning, there can be doubt in a physical book because mistakes happen. There are human errors. The human beings are compiling this book. But then there is a book in which there is no doubt. And that is the book which is a guidance for us. Those who will fear Allah, those who are conscious of Allah, those who will ward off evil. And do we know what book is that? That book is our Imam, Nur Maulana Shah Karim al-Sani Hazima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. That is the living, speaking book. Quran-e Natik. His one of the title is Quran-e Natik, meaning speaking book. This book which we have in our hands, it's Quran-e Samit, silent book. When Allah says there is no doubt in the book, He is not referring to humans compiling this book. No, there can be human error. He is talking about Imam. There is no doubt in that book, that speaking book.
A little bit, maybe I'm being dense or I'm tired. I'm still trying to understand it. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying, but even that use of that, why does that make it the Imam?
Very good question. Very good question. Because it says in the Quran that, let me tell you the kissa of Maula Ali. So when Maula Ali was sitting with his companions and they were reading this book, and in one of the verse which says Yantaku, the speaking book, and we will study those verses in detail. So when he reads that speaking book, he takes literally the Quran and he puts in his head. And he says, "Speak, O book, speak. Speak, O book, speak." The book is never going to speak. So that book which is Allah is talking about, that there is no doubt, that is a speaking book. And there's a saying of Maula Ali, I am that speaking book. We have to be able to connect the dots to be able to understand how it proves that it is the Imam and it is the Ismaili tariqa, the true tariqa.
And I guess if it's the past tense, if it's referring to a book that's always going to be there, then it cannot be the past tense, right?
Very good question.
Because if you put it into a historical context, that would have to be a book that was only available at that time, or a physical imam was available at that time, because then that book would not be available.
Absolutely correct. So in Arabic language, it's a very rich language. In one point in time, the Arabic would be having all three different tense application. It will be present tense, past tense, and future tense. So that is to go into depth of the language. I am humbly saying I don't know that much Arabic, but I do know some of the verses in which I've seen it clearly happening. Some of the words. But if you were to study Arabic language, you will be so shocked to realize that one word would mean at the same time past, present, and future. That is why Imam says very clearly, Quran says very clearly, without knowledge, there is no way we can understand the batni meaning, the tawil. So let us now look at this Quranic verse and end chapter 31, verse 20. It says, there are among men those who dispute about Allah without knowledge, without guidance, without a book to enlighten them. Anyone who is Sunni, they will say, oh, we have the book, so this verse is not about us. We have the Quran to enlighten us. Quran is the book of guidance. Quran is book of knowledge. But when we are talking about the book to enlighten them, Allah has not referred to physical book of Quran. He has referred to the speaking Quran, which is the Imam. Those who will enter in Quran without the nur of the Imam, they are not going to get this knowledge. They will never understand the Tawil. And they will have their own interpretation. And we don't object to them. The way we read the paragraph of memoirs of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, it is okay. It's their interpretation. We respect any and every interpretation. What we are concerned as a Smiley, that we should understand how Imam is that book, which is the living, speaking book, to guide us, to enlighten us, to give us the knowledge. And it is the hidayat of the Imam that we are seeking this knowledge. We are walking on the path of knowledge to strengthen our Iman, to increase our knowledge, and to walk further on this journey of learning tawilat, because there's not just one tawil. So we are beginning our journey by making our Iman mazboot, and also to become comfortable with Quran.
Niamat Ben,
Ji.
just a thought has come to me. I don't know whether it's just the appropriate question, but when the Ginan says, Ito kewa sarik hoy nati, ito joya sarik hoise. So where does this come here now?
Very good question. Very good. So what I hope that you all heard the Ginan, that he is not someone you talk about. He is someone you see. So when we talk about that Ginan, we are talking about Nur. We are talking about the Nur of the Imam. So when we start the journey in knowledge, the first step is Ilmul Yaqeen. We strengthen our Iman with knowledge. The second step is Joa Sariko, Ainul Yaqeen. Do not stop at knowledge. Get the certainty of eyes. See him. And it is possible for those who have the knowledge actually, because knowledge is the first step. So that is why he's Jua Sariko. Don't be stopping at the knowledge. With knowledge, transform yourself to get to the level of Ainul Yaqeen, to see the light. One understanding, incomplete understanding could be, I don't need to learn anything. I just need to do ibadat and I need to see him, see the light. But we will not understand the light if we don't have the knowledge. So that is a very basic understanding of that Gnan. But when we get understanding at a higher level, we will realize that probably we were not being sufficient in understanding that Gnan verse. And we need to understand that how Pir was saying, encouraging us to see the Noor. There are people who dispute about Allah. Imam is that Noor Mujarrad, that embodied Noor of Allah. And I call him Ali Allah, without knowledge, without guidance, without the book to enlighten them. They fight about Allah. It is only the smiley Mominins who are truly connected to the Noor of Allah. He is the direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. And we have gathered here to recognize him at the level of knowledge, taking this journey step by step, going further. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions or comments.
No, it was very good. I learned a lot. You know, it's interesting. There's a bookstore here, a spiritual bookstore, and they had a sale. So I happened to go there and I picked up a bunch of books. I don't think I'm going to keep them all, but I guess there are this series of books. And I don't know a lot about Al Ghazali. I know that he was a Sunni Muslim who then converted to Ismailism, I think. I'm not sure, but that's at least what I think. And there's a series of books written by this organization, and it's a book of knowledge is the first book, which is, they call it Ilya Ulum al-Dilm. So Kitab al-Ilm. And, you know, it's so interesting. I started reading it now. In the past, I don't think I would have grasped this difference. But the more and more I read it, the less and less I wanted to read it. And because it's written completely from a Sunni perspective, and so much emphasis on the five rules that, you know, the praying 5 times a day, the Hajj, the Zakat. And they kept on referring to their scholars as being the ones who have the knowledge. And it was really problematic for me. But I don't think, and I'm not saying, I mean, I know so little, but even I was able to start sort of discerning and not being comfortable. Now, this just happens to be a translation from a Sunni perspective. I picked up another book that I think is written later on in his life, and I think he got very frustrated when he tried to practice it, and then he went kind of on his own path. And I think that book talks a lot more about his journey than from the esoteric perspective. But it was really difficult for me, even reading it. But it was helpful because I could see that, wow, there was so much reliance on their scholars, the Sunni interpreters, but there was no reference whatever to the speaking Quran, that there is another authority here. And we know that anytime a human, doesn't matter who they are and how knowledgeable they are, there's so much room for error. So anyways, I just wanted to share that experience.
Thank you for sharing. Because you shared, I'll comment that few things. You asked about Ghazali. Ghazali, being the Sunni scholar, he has written really very harsh, bad things about Imams. He was a very powerful scholar of Sunni Muslims. Towards the end time, like really when he was about to die, at that time, he did accept Imam, and he wrote something about it. I mean, not clearly because he was scared of his status being ruined because he had a name. He was a known scholar. But literally at the deathbed, he has written some articles in which, if you were to study, one can realize that he did accept Imam. But the damage he has done, it's a lot. To Ismailis, to Imam, he has done a lot of damage. But again, we don't judge. We are okay. Whatever their interpretation is, it's their interpretation, and I hope he is saved because at the end he did accept the Imam. The important point for us in context of being here today, I have a request, I would say, that until we have not become very strong in our own knowledge of our own tariqah, our own books, it is recommended not to be reading other books. Let it be Hindu, Christian, Sunni, anybody. Do not be reading those books. I don't think I have read all the books of our Buzurgwar-e-Din. I have not. I have been very selective and I wish I could read all the books. I'm lazy. I'm lazy. I have time, but I don't read. I want to read all those books which are written by our Buzurgwar-e-Din. I hope to do that. And it is recommended that when we have read some books of our Buzurgwar-e-Din, we have a balance, we have a benchmark, we have some standard. And then when we go out and read others, we have the ability to weigh their knowledge. We have the ability of comparing. When we don't have comparison, when we don't have very strong feet grounded in the earth, and we start with others' books reading, there is a high risk because we don't have the benchmark, we will be trapped too. So it's a humble request. Nobody is
Yeah,
saying
no,
anything.
I'm sort of agreeing with you because
Shukran.
all I wanted to say is, and I read it. I mean, I had no idea what his background was, and I was like, I read it, and after 2, 3 chapters, I'm like, I don't want to read this anymore. It's not sitting right with me, and so I think it's testament to some extent of the knowledge I'm acquiring, so I could discern that nothing about this sat right with me. And so I would agree. It's just that, I was trying to find some books that gave me the languaging around some very basic concepts in Islam, which I don't have. And that's why sometimes, some outsiders will write about them. Like when I read Anne Marie Schimmel stuff, I learn a lot. She's quite accurate. And so I'm glad you gave us a list of the different names today. And I'll go to the literature counter. I'm actually meeting a friend who runs the counter and see if I can find some books from the institute that might give me just some more background. That's all. So I think that was the attempt on my part. But I realized very quickly that it was actually not helpful and actually quite misleading. But thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You know, the monoreality and Ismaili literature, they have a lot of good books from Allama Sahib. Like, those are like amazing books.
Do they have them in Canada? Do you know?
No, it's a
It's on
website.
the
Like,
website.
Oh, I'll have to go and look. I haven't looked at that yet. Okay, I will go
yeah,
and
you know what?
okay.
You will never go wrong with those
Oh,
books.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you so much. Okay, I'll do that.
They are hard. They are hard to understand because they are very esoteric. You need some help with those books as well. And I think also, I believe Hazimam has said that, try and read the books which are primary sources, not even secondary sources. And do you have any Talim books? Talim books are quite good to
Yeah,
get the
I
background.
have those too, but yeah,
A
I
lot.
do. Yeah, I do. I have
They are
some of
very
those.
good.
Yeah, but I'm sort of not. I'm looking for more of the books that talk about the tawil of the faith and some of the languaging and the background there. So I'm a little bit looking for more of those types of books. But I will check out that website.
May I say something here? I use monoreality a lot. And I also, any Quranic references that we have, you can go on monoreality.org and put it in the QWiki. There's a thing called QWiki. And that will give you the tawil of the Quran, that verse.
Oh, that's
It's
wonderful.
mind-blowing, absolutely. If you need any help,
Oh,
let me know and I'll help you out. Because some people,
okay.
we have a
Thanks.
Monday group. And
Thank you.
yeah,
I
okay.
appreciate it.
All
I'm
right.
glad I brought it up. It helps me direct myself in the right direction. So thanks, Niamat, and thanks, Anis.
And thank you to Naila who shared that these two sites are beautiful. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Shukr Mola. Anyone else, any comment or any question?
I just want to
Yeah,
share like
sorry.
these things I've been through also is गिनान में भी है. This is kind of शैतान की बाजी कि हम different book पढ़ते हैं और फिर lost हो जाते हैं. So I've been through it, so I know. That's what just sharing.
Thank you, Naid. That's very humble of you, very sweet of you to share that you've gone through that experience. Thank you. जी गुलजार
या अली मदद मैम, वो सर्वेंट्स वाली जो आयत बोले ना मैम, उसका नंबर एक नहीं था उसमें, नंबर बोल. So they found one of our servants. Or I missed, I think.
18/65 उस आयत को इल्म लदुनी से याद रखें. गिवन नॉलेज.
और मैं कमेंट एक करना चाह रही थी कि एक्चुअली हम लोग बहुत ब्लेस्ड है जो ये सेकंड टाइम अटेंड कर रहे हैं. जैसा अभी आप वो बोल रहे थे ना कि 7 हिडन तावील है, इतना रिलेट हो रहा वो बाइमा, क्योंकि पहली बार भी यही आप सिखाए थे, बट अभी जैसे समझ में आ रहा है, आई थिंक इट्स टोटली लाइक डिफरेंट. तो वी आर रियली ब्लेस्ड बाइमा कि हमको ये मौका मिला कि इमीडिएट सेकंड स्टार्ट करें आप, और वही चीज हमको वापस से मिल रही है. सो थैंक यू सो मच. शुक्र मौला बाइमा. सो बार बार पढ़ना और सुनना बहुत जरूरी है. और जैसा आप बोलते कि वो कुरान की आयत को खुद से फिर पढ़ना, फिर रिव्यू करना, बहुत रियलाइज हो रहा बाइमा. थैंक यू सो मच.
All right, friends. If no more comments or questions, then I'll take your leave. Anis, you are saying something?
No, I was going to say thank you very much indeed. Yes, there's so much out there, Niamat Chandani, that it's you don't know where to start, and it's just mind blowing. You just don't know what to. There's so much out there, so much out there.
So you are like me. I'm
so
excited.
Oh. I do select. I am being selective, but you want to drink the whole ocean, but you can't.
Yeah, step by step,
Yeah.
slowly, step by step.
Yeah,
You know.
inshallah. Inshallah.
Okay. याली मदद
याली मदद. हाँ, ये तो नेमत साहब, ये तो है स्टेप बाय स्टेप एलिवेट होना शुरू हो जाए तो बस मौला भी अपना हाथ पकड़ ले.
आमीन. याली मदद
मौला मदद. मौला आपको दीन और दुनिया में सुखी सलामत आबाद रखे. मौला सेवादारियों की सेवा कबूल करे.
आमीन. याली मदद.
मौला की मदद.